I'm John Hoppenthaler. I'm a professor of English and creative writing at East Carolina University. My books of poetry are Domestic Garden, Anticipate the Coming Reservoir, and Lives of Water, all with Carnegie Mellon University Press. My poetry, essays, and interviews have appeared in many journals, anthologies, and textbooks, including Wild Sweet Notes 2, More Poetry from West Virginia, and Eyes Glowing at the Edge of the Woods, Fiction and Poetry from West Virginia, and also in WVU's Cheat River Review. I'd first like to thank my longtime friend Renee Nicholson and Laura Fletcher as well for inviting me to participate in this wonderful thing, this celebration of West Virginia poetry for the 25th anniversary of National Poetry Month. I may be a New Yorker by birth, but my ties to West Virginia are many and very dear to me. I attended WVU for a number of years and lived in Morgantown for 5 years while attending grad school. And during that time, I also taught a number of classes at WVU. During that stretch, I also taught one semester at West Virginia Wesleyan College and received the West Virginia Division of Culture and History and West Virginia Commission on the Arts Fellowship Award for Excellence in the Field of Literature. It's a mighty long title. I also met the West Virginian who would, a couple of decades later, become my wife. I returned to New York after my years in Morgantown, where I served as Toni Morrison's personal assistant for 9 years. And once I left Toni's employ, I served a year-long stint at West Virginia University, Parkersburg, teaching there, a job I left for my current position. I've had the pleasure of giving many poetry readings throughout the state, and I can't wait to get back. Hint, hint, y'all. Until then, I'd like to read a September 11th inspired poem from my second collection. And it's also the poem anthologized in that wonderful WVU Press Eyes Glowing anthology. A Jar of Rain. Wrapped in threadbare and faded cotton towels, snuggled between the hub and Beth Ann's sneakered feet, the faint sloshing of jarred rainwater too muffled to hear above road whine and rolling stones on the tape deck. But like some rare and fragile egg, she nestled it there, all 400 long miles east to Manhattan. When her brother left Wheeling, it had been springtime. He allowed how he'd miss it, yearning green mountains, misty Ohio River, and mostly the rain, how it sluiced off mom's rooftop to collect in brim in an old metal oil drum, how when he would thwack its steel side with his finger, rings would shiver toward dark water's chilly center. He would miss the rain, and they would miss him. Gone to the city, dream job among skyscrapers, the big break of his young life. They'd sung the theme from the Mary Tyler Moore Show together that night. He first heard he'd been hired and flung cloth napkins high at the kitchen ceiling. You're gonna make it after all, deflecting off walls and rising like hymnal passages till dawn. Alvin hit a bump. Careful, she hissed. Her left leg swiveling on raised toes, hard up against the jar. It was what she could still do, the only thing more, to wash what ashes were left of his, gutter to river to sea, with West Virginia rainfall dipped up from a drum whose surface October had started to freeze over. Mick Jagger was belting out Painted Black. She saw the brimming hole in a skyline she'd never seen before begin to unfold.